are all about mobility, strength, all the good stuff. And y'all know me, I'm all about that jump rope, okay? So as y'all are coming in, say where y'all coming in from. And if you have any questions, on the bottom right side of your screen, there is a box with a question mark. Put your questions there because there are going to probably be a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and we're not going to probably be able to see everything. So to ensure that we see your questions, be sure to take advantage of that question box. So I'll introduce myself and then we all can go on with the show. My name is Bernadette Henry of Make It Fun NYC, where I make jump rope and exercise as a whole more fun and exciting for anyone looking to live a healthy and active lifestyle.
Yeah. What's up? I'm not Vernon. Instagram handle is Matter What. All the things that make you move better, feel better, and do more. Fuck all races, fuck all clowns.
Yo, y'all need to know how we get down from the start. So that's exactly how we get down.
Put it out there.
I'm Coach RT3 from the Upgrade Guys, co-founder of the Upgrade Guys. We're about everything mobility, making you move better, feel better, so that you can do more. And that do more can be anything that you love doing. Whether it be picking up your kids, jump roping, lifting weights, whatever it is you love doing, we want to make sure that we optimize your body for that. Because that's just what we do. Upgrade your shit.
Yes.
So what up, people? We organized this because we actually had Bernadette, our podcast dropping this summer. Should be dropping sometime in June. And we talked a lot about jump rope. We talked a lot about some of the issues people have when they're jumping rope between foot, knee, hips. And so we thought that it would be great to get together and help people understand a little bit more about their bodies and understand that you can actually jump if you got bad knees.
And to tell y'all, like, bad knees to everybody is different. Like, it's like what constitutes and what actually defines bad knees. So what may be bad knees to me is just like, okay, whatever, that ain't nothing. But what may be bad knees to you may be something totally different. So
right. And basically, for the purpose of what we're doing here, we simply are going to examine, like, how can we make sure that you can continue to jump rope if you enjoy jump rope, or if that's your way of, improving your physical fitness. Like, what can we do to help mitigate, what might happen as you start those things? Knee issues tend to show themselves in a lot of repetitive activities, running, cycling, jump roping. So, but there are things that we can do to make sure that all that bad shit we deal with doesn't become an issue. So we're going to get into some of the risks today, I think, and then talk about some of the plans we have to bring some stuff to help people with that, right?
Right.
All right, so Bernadette, can you let us know, like, what are the people in the jump rope community typically, what are their major complaints regarding jump rope?
Well, a lot of people usually say that they can't jump because they have bad knees. And my solution to that is really basically to tell you, if you can run or jog, you can jump, okay? Because jumping can be a bit more safer on the knees than running and jogging. And it really depends on your form and how you're jumping and the shoes you wear, the socks you wear, the surface that you jump on. So all of these things take into account. And it's also, too, in addition, 10 minutes of jump rope is equivalent to a 30-minute jog on a treadmill at 6.5 miles an hour. So technically, you can get the same amount of work done in 10 minutes of jump rope than a 30-minute jog. So now you're saving time and putting that impact on your lower body much less.
Yeah. And then, so when we hear bad knees, all I really hear is there's a knee that does not have the ability to dissipate the force that it needs. And means the knee just needs to work a little bit better. And understanding what that looks like for each person, and specifically what they're going to need, I think is where Rich and I can come in and really provide some benefit and help people feel better. Because we work with people all the time who are like, oh, I've always had bad knees, or my knee has always been this, that, or I stopped doing this, I stopped running because of my knee. And 100%, like 100% of the time, like, we can identify what's going on, what's affecting.
Yep. And we just want to premise this by telling you that we are not medical professionals. We are here to give you advice. And if you have some medical issue, I highly suggest you seeing your doctor. So don't take this as medical advice, okay? We don't want y'all coming for us. But
Wait, I'm not a doctor? Oh shit. You said I could be the doctor being that.
oh my bad.
Not for the lie. You talking about
You like Dr. Got it. Dr. Body.
That makes me sniff that. That makes me sniff that.
Yeah, and y'all, we have to be functional no matter what. Like our bodies are meant to exercise. Our bodies are meant to walk, run, jog, jump. This is what we're meant to do. Like we were not sitting behind desks all our lives. You know, think of the people like thousands and thousands upon years ago, they were climbing trees, hopping on stuff, doing all kinds of stuff. So our bodies are literally made to function. And it's what you do with in the meantime, before and after you do this workout or whatever you plan to do, that's going to really make the difference. Like really, really think of your favorite athlete. Okay. Think of your favorite basketball players. They are riddled with injuries, but guess what? They have a team. They have doctors. They have chiropractors. They have stretch and mobility coaches. They have all of these things that helps them to maintain their level of physical activity. So for a common person to just say, oh my gosh, my knee hurt today, I can't do this. No, think of your favorite athlete and you can do it because they're suffering like we're probably 5 injuries simultaneously.
The thing that I think we want to talk about here is what a person really would need to jump rope, right? Like the 3 major things that I think are important for people to walk away with is understanding that you don't just go out and grab a jump rope and start jumping, right? There's on the instructional side, there's going to be stuff that you need to understand and you need to learn and you need to know in order to jump safely and effectively and efficiently, right? And that's where Bernadette comes in because she has the expertise to be able to help people understand like how to get from I don't jump rope at all to here are the basic skills you need to build upon. If you look at, I think Bernadette reposted my post from this week where I was I looked at Bernadette's video and I was like, yo, I could do that. And I go and start jumping, and that was all in fun, that was all to like make a point to people that like when you see something on social media and you immediately think like, oh, I can do that. I can just go straight to that. That is not the case. There are prerequisites for the things that you want to do. So from our standpoint, what we think or what we see is that there are 3 main aspects on the preparation side or on the athletic preparedness side that you need in order to obtain the skills of jumping rope. And so we would say, the first thing you would need is we're all about mobility, right? So, and to explain what mobility is, it's not just stretching and flexibility. What we're asking you with mobility is we're saying how much range of motion do you have, and then how much range of motion do you have control of? And so for us, with the knees in particular, does the knee do what it's supposed to do? Does it do all of the functions that a human knee is designed to do? And if it does not do those things, then we need to address those things. So there's the mobility component, which is also strength, because mobility training is strength training. But then there's the movement prep. So before you go out and jump rope, what are you going to do prior to jumping rope to prepare your body for that activity? So you just go out and grab the jump rope and start jumping. Like, that don't make no sense. And then after you jump rope, what are you doing to recover, cool down, to address the areas that you've just worked or you've just trained? So these are all aspects of that create a more holistic experience when it comes to jump rope, and that's what we're here to kind of address a little bit.
I think I'm gonna put two of the things together, just like Bernadette was talking about earlier, in terms of like what our bodies are made to do or what we're doing, times before, like what in terms of climbing trees or hunting or whatever. And then we have to remember that the life that we live now is not at all in like even close to that type of life where we had so much activity where we go to the store to buy food. We don't hunt for food. We get in a car and travel places. We don't run like miles in a day, right? We sit on chairs and we sleep on beds. We don't sit on the floor or sleep on the floor inside of a cave. So our bodies are under completely different are in completely different context than what they're built for. So that's why when Rich talks about like, you shouldn't just pick up a rope and start jumping. You shouldn't just start running five miles in a week if you've never ran before. You shouldn't try to squat 315 pounds if you've never squatted before, right? And then I think people look at a jump rope and think it's innocuous, like, it's just a jump rope, and I used to do this when I was a kid. You got to remember, like, you're jumping with your weight on both your feet, like over and over and over again. That's a lot of force that's going to be accumulated in those tissues, right? So I just wanted to make that connection.
And that's an amazing.
And you're not.
I mean, I am, but whatever.
You spent all these years, so think about it like a lot of us, whatever reason, are picking these things up as a hobby or something, activity, or for whatever reasons, even if you're trying to lose weight or whatever the case is, right? But we have to understand cost benefit of these things as well. So there's a cost to everything that we do, and I like to put it in terms of like available resources versus usage, right? And so if we think of the body that we're coming to the task or to the jump rope or to whatever it is that we want to do, if we're thinking of the body that we're bringing to that task, how much resource do you have available to do that task? And so when we talk about mobility training, when we talk about how that fits into our overall performance training, then we can kind of understand that if we come with very little resources in the first place, and then we expand or exceed those resources, somebody's got to pay, right? Something's going to have to pay. And so this is also why, like I said, there's preparation, there's strength training, there's preparation, and there's recovery. You need to recover that loss. You went out to Vegas and spent all that money, and you came back home, and you're like, we're going next weekend.
No, you ain't. Right? You better sit down, stay home. Shut your ass and stay home. Sit out somewhere.
You better get back to your job, make you some money. You know what I'm saying? You got kids to feed. You got right. Stuff to do. So that comes back to that too. Like, can you afford to be out? Can you afford to be hobbling around? Can you afford to have a fractured foot, or to have
jumper's knee?
What's that?
Jumper's knee.
Right.
Remember that?
Can you afford to have those issues go on? And if your answer is no, I can't afford to do that, then you better start making some savings. You better start making some deposits and savings. Because if you want to do the things you want to do, you got to create a savings and a buffer. And that is one of the things that we think about heavily within our training and within what we're trying to do for people, is helping you create the savings account for your joints, for your tissues, so that you can then go in there and utilize that savings. And then we're teaching you how to replenish those savings.
And that's absolutely correct, because I know, like you mentioned a little earlier, you were saying that people watch things on social media and they go out and the first thing they do is grab a jump rope or grab a kettlebell or grab a weight or grab whatever they want to grab, and they just want to go for it, not realizing that you're seeing the finished product, and this is why a lot of times I spend my time talking about safety, because jump rope is an amazing exercise with tremendous benefits, but you have to master the basics before moving on, and trying to move on before your body is prepared is the quickest way to injury. And the reason why is getting a bad rap, while people saying, oh yeah, it's bad for the knee. Why? Because you weren't prepared for it. You got to be prepared. And another reason why, I work with specialists in this area. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a medical doctor on to talk about, is jump rope safe for the knees? And now this week, I have the mobility guys, and we're talking about preparing your body for jump rope. Because guess what? If I told y'all the issues I had with my knees, y'all would say, what? Are you serious? Is this the same person? No, really serious. And I, just like I mentioned your favorite athlete, I work with my doctors. I go to physical therapy. I go to the chiropractor. And I'm going to be using, the services and products that the upgrade guys have, because all of this is important. I'm 42 years old and I plan to jump rope until I can't jump rope anymore. Okay. And, I have a young lady on Instagram, Facebook. We've been friends for many years. She's 77 and she's still jumping with no problems. So it's like I said, our bodies are really meant for this, but it's what you do to your body before, during, and after that's going to count.
I think, especially in this day and age, we have a tendency to not take accountability for our actions or like things that we should have done. And we tend to want to blame something else. Like you mentioned, like they blamed it, oh, jump roping is bad or whatever. It's not the jump rope's fault that your ass didn't get ready to jump rope. Like whatever activity you want to do, like you should prepare for that activity, and then you should do it, and then you should do whatever you need to do after the activity to make up for the time you spend doing the activity. And that sort of goes towards like anything you want to do in life, right? So this idea of like, oh, my knee hurt because I was jump roping. Well, it's not the jump rope's fault. It's because, we as humans aren't given a user's manual for our bodies to know how to check these things or how to assess these things. And the industry that is responsible for making people understand that, largely that industry doesn't understand that it's important. So there's an issue there that's hard to get through, right? When in reality, we just have to think about this: like, what is it that you want to do? What should you have? What should you do to prepare to do that? And then after the fact, what can we do to mitigate whatever stress that you incurred, or like start the recovery process so that you can gain the benefit from the stress that you incurred, right? All right.
Now, if anybody watching has any questions, feel free to put them in a little question box, and Rich can put them on the screen, and we can definitely answer that. So I am on Facebook as well, and someone asked, how do you prevent jumper's knee?
You want it, Rich, or me?
You can go ahead.
So first of all, whenever we have like a diagnosis that a human has given us or has been accepted in the field, we have to remember like one, diagnosis like indicates like what we've assigned to a series of symptoms or like a way that they may have happened. A lot of times we will have people who have diagnosis this, have diagnosis that. When in reality, that doesn't really tell us what to do. So like if you're coming into a clinic and like, oh, you got jumpers, and they go in the computer, they type out a program and they give you the program. How did you know that program was right for you, right? So what we want to do is, if your knee is bothering you, we want to check, what does your knee do? Does your knee move enough? Does it not move enough? Is it strong enough here? Is it not strong enough there? Is your knee capable of doing what your knee needs to do when you do this activity, when you jump? And then we extrapolate that out. Well, how many times will you jump? What's that volume probably going to look like? How much do you weigh? Like, at what rate of force are you moving? What have you been doing to prepare for that? So a lot of times it's not like, let me take this diagnosis and give you the exercises for the diagnosis. All of the time, it should be assessing the human. What does that part do? What do the parts above it, below it, and next to it do? And what don't they do? And then we make them do the things that they need to do for the activities that we want to do or the life that we want to live.
Absolutely.
And I echo that sentiment, because I think it's oftentimes, people just think like there's this one solution for their
right.
And we get these messages. I get these messages in my inbox all the time.
Daily.
Right, on a post that I post. Well, will this exercise fix this? And I'm like, we have to understand that exercise itself is not. Exercises are arbitrary. They're things that are just made up to do certain things, and they all depend on the intention behind them, right? So I, for example, posted a video recently about the knee joint, a few videos about the knee joint, and I talk about intention for doing certain exercises, right? We often will do things like a hamstring curl with the full intention of training the hamstring. But we don't fully understand that the hamstring's job is to do more than flex at the knee joint. The hamstring also involved with rotation of the knee joint. And then people say, oh, the knee doesn't rotate. What the hell are you talking about? And then I'm like, no, your knee doesn't rotate. But knees are supposed to rotate. And your hamstrings are the ones that are supposed to do that. And they support your ACL in that duty. And so when people have ACL issues, when people have meniscus issues, when people have all these different issues going on, a lack of rotation can be a main issue as to why the knee joint is not able to do the things that it's supposed to do and able to absorb the forces that it needs to absorb. And so when we think about the intention of an exercise can be used in a lot of different ways to get specific outcomes if the intention behind it depends on the intention behind the exercise. So like I said, a hamstring curl can be, oh, I'm working on my hamstring, but then you could also say, well, I'm actually trying to work on my knee joint. So you can put the knee in various positions. You can put the tibia in various positions in order to train the hamstring specifically into rotation. And so, like I said, I think we have to understand that a diagnosis, as Nat said, is to some degree limited in a lot of ways.
It's just a start for us to start understanding where we should look, in my opinion.
And I think that's absolutely true. And just going back to, you're talking about the hamstring. I always say that our hamstrings, our quads, our hips, and our glutes, that's the supporting cast of your knees. So if any of these areas are weak, guess what? Your knee is going to be weak too. You have to support everything. Like, our bodies are like so unique, and everything works with each other for its higher purposes.
Right. And specifically thinking about jump roping, you can just imagine, right? If you jump up and then you jump down, your feet are the first thing to touch the ground. So the energy that's being dispersed from there up, just think about where it's going, right? Like, and so it's not, you can't just look at the part that you think does the stuff, the foot and the knee, right? You have to look a little bit, like, just like you said, the supporting cast. And I think that's something that gets missed way too often.
Absolutely. And I think also as we start thinking about that idea of dissipation of force, you think about all of the joints of the foot. There's
Jesus Christ,
there's tons of joints in the foot, right? So if the foot is not behaving the way a foot is designed to behave, then guess what? It's not doing a good job of dispersing force at that level. Right. And then if you lack mobility there, that means you lack control. That means you lack communication issues of the foot and ankle. And if you lack communication with the foot and ankle, then the information that your nervous system is going to receive from that area is not going to be high quality information. If you think about like bandwidth, if you think about a 5G system, you've got 5G towers out here, but you still got the iPhone 3G. You ain't gonna be able to do 5G, run 5G apps.
Yep.
Right?
And jump roping is a 5G app.
Yeah.
You're trying to run 5, especially the way Bernadette did jump rope.
That's just the way Bernadette do it is a 7G. 7G.
Like, that's the next level.
We don't even have access to that yet.
So so if you think of it in that frame, in that lens, and you start to understand, like, okay, so I need to build better equipment. I need to build better infrastructure to run the operations that I want to run on this 5G network. Then you start to understand, like, oh, my equipment is shoddy. I need to fix my equipment. I need to upgrade my equipment. Upgrade your shit. See, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off of something you said a little earlier, where you said, when the person say, hey, I used to do this when I was a little kid, and as an adult, you tried to pick it up. Guess what? I have been jumping rope for over 20 years since I was a kid. Okay. I cannot think of myself as this 5 year old on a playground. And even when I was in my 20s, I can't think of myself as, okay, I'm just going to grab my rope and go. I'm not going to stretch. I'm not going to cool down. I'm not going to do anything. Like, as you start to get older, up too, your body works different. Like, you have to treat your body according to how you're growing. You can't just go and say, okay, I'm going to do this and that. And if you want to do this for the long run, you got to do and take advantage of the information that we're stating here.
Boy, I tell you, like we are all like 40 plus, so like, and we all got babies. We all got babies.
I don't. I got monsters. Like, I got thugs, but like they are like Jesus Christ. They were Genghis Khan. I don't know.
Yeah, Aisha said you better warm up, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, straight up, you better get your warm up on, right? Like, like I do more warming up than actual like activity, right? Like, at this stage, I'm like, so they be like, it's 30 minutes in, like, so what you done so far? I'm warming up still. Like, my son was like, yo, can we go do some sprints? Like, let's go. He's like, I want to race you. I was like, hold that thought. I'm going to have to warm up for like 15 minutes, and then we're going to start doing that. Because I'm not stupid, right? You know how many 40-year-olds have been like, oh, I pulled my hamstring because I was sprinting with my son, took off running. Like, use your head.
Right.
McFly, like, come on. Like, I've seen my kids do stuff and fall into all types of ways. And I'm like, yeah, that shit tore me up. Like, I'd have been debilitated for like the next month. You know
yeah, they are durable.
Like, yeah, and it's funny. Durable. Like, I watch kids do like simple squat stuff. Yeah, I like watch the kids. They be doing all kind of squats and stuff, and sitting down on their knees and stuff. And I'm just like, wow, look, and then like doing like things like the bear crawls and stuff, where it looks so easy. It's like as an adult, you're like, first, second, third,
fourth,
crazy
though.
It's yeah,
crazy, right? Yeah,
I'll warm up first. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get these synovial joints all lubricated. But, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The powerlifting social worker, she said she's 39. She can't not warm up, right?
Right.
For real.
Yeah. And so the thing is, I think one person, once again, if you have like a question, an actual question you need answered, use the question mark thing next to the comment box. But I think one person way back here said, so strengthen the muscles around the knee. Correct. Yes, that's correct.
So also we should, I think this is one distinction that makes a difference is oftentimes people think that something needs to be strengthened. They immediately start to strengthen it. They immediately start to load it somehow, right? Mm-hmm. If we say like there's something around your knee that needs to be stronger, first we want to make sure that it moves enough for what we're doing, or that it moves enough to be, considered an actual knee joint as opposed to something we're calling a knee that just looks like one. It doesn't do what it does. So in terms of strengthening, like, yes, we want to strengthen it, but first we want to make sure that area is ready to be strengthened. So does it move enough to be strengthened? Can you control what you move enough for it to be the right time for you to train those muscles and make them stronger?
And just going back to something that I stated earlier, if you feel that you have some type of issue, go see a doctor. Okay.
Right.
What's that thing called? Whatever, disclosure. I have arthritis in my knee, and I have a lateral torn meniscus in my left knee. Okay. But y'all would never really know that. You would look at my page, and for me, that could be considered a bad knee, yes. So somebody else, that could be considered like atrocious. But guess what? I work with my team. I go to the chiropractor. I go to physical therapy a couple of times a week. And this is how now they help me maintain this activity that I love. So if you're watching this live and you really, really, really have some sort of issue, or you think you have an issue, like I said, if you can run and jog, you should be able to jump because it's more low impact than running. But if there is something more, if you have a constant pain, something that you cannot get rid of, please go see a doctor, get an MRI, let them provide you with the diagnosis that you need. Then you can come back and say, okay, this is what I know and this is what I am to do. And the reason why I'm stating like the strengthen the muscles, blah, 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 is because I know this from going to my doctor, and this is the things that I work on. So I just really, really want to reiterate that to someone that's watching that really may have a legit issue. But don't let those issues stop you.
Right. That's the realest advice you could ever give is if you got something seriously going on, you need to see someone. But I think I also want to say as well to people out there is you are not your MRI. You
Right.
are not your diagnosis.
I know I'm not.
You are you, and you are a human being, and you should understand that human beings are resilient, and we were built to adapt to a lot of things. And if we hadn't been built to adapt to a lot of things, we'd be long gone off this planet. If you think about over the course of human history, so let's look at this for a second. Most people, when they die, are going to have torn this, torn that, meniscus damage, shoulder damage, like
disc herniations,
whether they felt
arthritis,
whether they felt it or not. And so we have to, when you think about that and you understand that, you start to realize that we either, for most minor things, naturally just make our way out of it or adapt the way we operate to change it. But what that also suggests to me is that we have the capability and the capacity to make changes if we specifically address specific issues that are happening within our body. So it goes back to what Nat was saying about assessment and looking at, for example, a knee or a hip or whatever, and saying, like, does this, like, so you have something going on. Does this knee do what it's designed to do? If not, why not? Can we change that? Can we improve that? If we improve that, what is the reward for that? And like Dr. Lowe, pointed out, the
we're rewarded for having well-functioning bodies.
Yeah, well-functioning bodies tends to reward us by not being in pain. And so I think that as you're going to your doctor, as you're going to your physical therapist, you have to remember these things. These things are so important to your understanding of your vehicle that you're operating. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for it. Nobody else is. Can nobody tell you how much pain you're in, what the pain level is, what you feel like on the inside? Nobody knows that. And your description of what you feel like on the inside tells me doesn't tell me a whole lot, because I don't know what it feels like to be inside of your body. So you may be like, damn, my knee is like killing me. But I might have been walking around with a knee that was in the same amount of pain, doing all the shit I love, like jumping rope, running, doing all types of stuff. That just depends on the person, right?
All right. I have a question real quick here on TikTok. Does your meniscus...
Oh my God, yes.
I know, right? Says Facebook, TikTok, Instagram,
YouTube. Yep.
I have a question on TikTok. We on TikTok?
Yeah.
We are, I guess so. I guess.
This is TikTok here.
I'm old.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. What the here?
I depend on you to know all these things. What the fuck, man?
We got YouTube and Facebook right here.
She got like 10 different devices, bro. What? I love it.
Does your meniscus tear bother you while or after jumping rope? So just to go back to what I've said before, I work with my treatment team and we do things to manage pain, but also too, I know my limits. I stick to my limits. Like I said, I only jump high enough to clear the rope. I wear the correct shoes. I try to jump on the correct surfaces most times. I wear compression socks. So, and like I said, only jumping high enough to clear the rope. So you really, it's all about really knowing your limits and what you do before, during, and after your jump rope workout.
I will also say that with meniscus is highly variable. There's several types of meniscus tears. There's several different severities. There is a lot of evidence showing that 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years out, that exercise therapy was better for the outcomes for people with meniscus tears as opposed to surgery. But it's highly variable and completely depends on the type of tear you have and where it is and how severe it is. But in general, if it's not, there are a handful of things that make us say, yeah, you should get surgery right away. I kind of feel like if you don't fall into the case of like a bucket tear that's, making your knee lock up, that for the most part, we should try exercise therapy first. But again, it's best for you to see somebody in person and have a medical professional guide you through that process.
Right.
But meniscus is one of those things it's highly variable. So don't just think that just because you have a meniscus thing that you should automatically get surgery.
Right. And my doctors, they have not even suggested that I stop jumping. They haven't told me to stop. They told me to keep going, actually.
Right.
I need it.
I was diagnosed, like by a therapist, diagnosed with possibly having a meniscus damage back in 2012. However, I never went to get an MRI. And this therapist asked me a couple of critical questions about what I wanted to accomplish or what I wanted to, where I wanted to go. He's like, his questions were, what do you expect to gain from having an MRI? Because after his assessment, he's like, I don't get enough. I'm not getting enough feedback or enough information to suggest that this is something that is needs to be operated upon. He said, but the question is, do you want to be operated on? And my answer was no.
Hell no. Like Color Purple. Hell no.
I'm not trying to be,
what you say, Hobo?
Walking around with a boot on or a knee thing on. And he was like, so if you don't want to be operated on, then I suggest you take steps to improve the integrity of your knee joint.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, keep doing what you're doing, strengthen your knee. If it's not getting worse, keep strengthening it. If it gets worse, then maybe you need to consider the alternative. But he's like, at this point in your life, he's like, everybody has some sort of damage. As long as it's not something that's got you debilitated and unable to, like Zach said, it's blocking your knee up, like completely blocking it up and stuff, then there are therapists out there who can help you overcome these things and get past. And I'm a classic example of someone who's gotten past that, because my knee's not perfect. My right knee is not perfect, but anybody who's seen my squats and deadlifts can see that it's good enough to do the damn job.
Yep. Don't let your limitations limit you. So it's whatever you think.
So we can look at my knee here, right? You see that hole, right? That will go right through the middle of the knee joint. Kind of looks like a bullet hole, right? Yeah, so I had a hole in my knee and I had some stuff go through there, right? And since I was young,
you had a bullet go through his knee.
I was young, right? So, and I still do like I still act a fool physically, like in all kinds of ways, right? So like, that's just to say, like, whatever we perceive as damage or whatever we perceive that, is labeled as a tear or something or damage on scans, like that's also something we formed with like the understanding of like what we're studying in our bodies now. And again, we don't have the thing where we check everybody in the world to know what's normal. So, just take that with a grain of salt.
So we got a question there. What exercises do we do to strengthen the muscles around the knee? So that depends Yeah, that's the answer. The answer is it depends. You know, what aspects of the knee are we trying to strengthen? Where are the deficiencies at? Once again, you know, that comes with being able to assess the person in front of us, right? There's no one size fits all method behind, you know, strengthening the knee, right? Because what person A needs for their knee is not what person B needs for their knee. You know, some people are very quadricep dominant. Other people, very few people actually train their hamstring. Nobody likes training the hamstring. So, I mean,
I do.
Let's just be straight up. So,
I'm hamstring dominant, damn it.
probably are. But, you know, the vast majority of people do not train their hamstrings very well. We could also, I think one of the forgotten aspects of the knee that people forget is the patella and the patella tendon, and I think that oftentimes, you know, we actually mobilize the patella as a part of our mobilization. But I think a lot of people do not do that. And, you know, a patella that doesn't move is not a healthy patella. So that's a part of your knee. And so if the knee, you know, is giving you issues, you know, because the patella is not tracking well or whatnot, then that's also problematic. And oftentimes when you present this to people that the patella should move around, they're like, wait, what? Like, it's the same question as like rotation of the knee. They're like, what, huh? What? It's supposed to do what? And, you know, you start mobilizing the patella and they're like, oh, they start to feel queasy. So, you know, it's all a part of caring for yourself, self-care.
Mhm.
Self-care, I squeezed it in.
Okay.
Self-care.
Absolutely right. You know, and just to tie all of this together, because we will be coming back with more of these lives on a weekly basis. So I am here basically to teach you about the safe ways of jumping rope, and the upgrade guys are here to show you how to prep and recover after jumping rope. Okay, so if you're on this live, please be sure that you have shared this out with a couple of people, and also be sure to follow us. Follow the upgrade guys, follow Nat, and follow Rich. Follow, and if you want to follow everyone in the live, all you have to do is press that arrow that you see at the top, and you'll be able to click just follow on everyone that is watching this live video. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up in the inbox. And once this is once this is posted on the page, there will be a link for you to join an email list to keep up with the next upcoming lives and to see what we have cooking. Because we definitely have something that's going to be great and beneficial for you all. We are bringing the best of both worlds to you. I'm bringing the expertise of jumping rope, and the upgrade guys are bringing the expertise of your mobility.
I'm gonna be straight up with them. I gotta be straight up with them. Get your pocketbooks ready.
Yes.
Because in June we got a program that's dropping. So between all of us, so get your pocketbooks ready. Start putting in your piggies. You know.
Get ready to upgrade your shit.
That's right.
Go do a few extra hours of overtime, whatever it is you need to get going, because we're about to drop this upgrade project between us and Bernadette, and it's gonna be fire. But the final question.
All you gotta do is not buy drinks for one weekend. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't buy no drink for one weekend.
Look, people
Have the
invest
next weekend.
People
Yes,
invest in what they want, okay? And for something that's part of self-care should definitely be something that's on the top of your list, especially if you want to last in this workout journey, okay? Because jumping rope on exercising, stretching, mobility, the whole 9 yards is going to be very important, you know, for your not only your physical health, but your mental and your emotional health, okay? So like I said, you are worth this, and I think you should definitely be on the lookout.
I got it, Jeff. But this last question, we have videos on the knees. Bernadette already told you. Go follow our pages. Yep. There's a bunch of stuff on my page recently. You'll have a field day up in there. I got a lot of shit in there.
Yes, definitely you do. And I've been sharing it in my
Oh,
story.
I would say, Rich, we did a lot of rotation stuff recently. If you have a meniscus issue and it's fresh, then you want to do that very, very, very carefully and just check. And if it doesn't feel good, wait on that.
Yes.
That's the only exception.
Yep. All right. So thank you all. And I've got a jet because my next appointment just arrived. So
all right, y'all.
We'll see y'all next week.
All right, now.
All right, bye.
Peace.
Bye.